Part of the problem was we had no space for our lieutenants who are involved in major cases. We brief, they'll have 10, 15 detectives in there working a homicide case or a major case, and if they brief, they had no room to brief unless they were going to stand around out in the hall, which is right outside where you have your suspects and witnesses. So it wasn't a good place. So we moved Deputy Chief Dickerson back here, and you know, it's like a little cubby hole. But this is Juvenile Investigations Unit, so the detectives that work on juvenile crimes, whether it be internet predator crimes or crimes against children, sexual assault, sexual abuse, this is their workspace. And you know, we don't have any place to store paper or files, so you'll see boxes stacked up like this. Right now you're getting close to the end of the shift, but when you have everybody in here working, we have very limited desk space for everybody. This used to be a storage area. So you had this area for the Deputy Chief of Patrol or Investigations, and when you try to do media releases or you try to do briefings with all your detectives, and you have over 30 detectives, so imagine trying to do a briefing with over 30 detectives in this little room. We have no place to store paper for our copy machine, so now you got upper command officers of the police department that are in charge of the major cases, got paper stacked up along their wall, just so we have paper for our copy machines. The bathrooms, right here, this is what the employees use. This is when we bring people in and we fingerprint them. They use this. So generally this looks like a truck stop within about the first hour of the day. We have 4 primary interview rooms for the Decatur Police Department. 4. The big problem is we can work with the size of space of each one of these interview rooms. What we can't work with is the lack of. And like I said, it's not uncommon if you have 10 or 12 people that witnessed a crime that you're working on and you bring them down here to get statements, you have to try to prioritize which first 4 you talk to. And you're hoping that your suspect's not sitting out in the hallway while you're in here interviewing other people trying to determine what happens. We're going to have 3 interview rooms built along this wall to try to alleviate the problem a little bit of people sitting out here in the hallway during major cases and stuff like that. So this is our Narcotics Bay. We don't have temporary lockers in this police department, so when we get narcotics, we don't have a place that we can come and temporarily put them in there before we move them into permanent evidence. So we have containers and stuff like that we put them in, and then we lock this room. And now we're also paying rent at a couple facilities. When we seize vehicles and we need to fingerprint those vehicles, or we need to go through them to recover weapons and tear them apart, or not weapons, but drugs to tear them apart, we're paying rent out of our budget to another facility here in Decatur. It's a vacant warehouse, and we put those vehicles and stuff up there because we have no place to do that here at the Law Enforcement Center. These are the guys that work all general investigations within the city of Decatur. That could be anywhere from forgeries to shootings, homicides, home invasions, everything like that. This is the group that they have, 14 of them, 2 sergeants, and this is the space that they have to work with. This area right here is famous for the magic leak. Usually they try to come in about once a month and put new tiles in there, so there's nothing more encouraging when you're working a major case to have buckets on the floor catching the rainwater. And this is our squad room. This will get busy here pretty quick, but you'll generally have, 18 to 20 officers sitting in there, and that's where they get like their roll call at the beginning of each day, information that they need to hear about. This used to be a closet area for us. We have maps of a lot of facilities in the city of Decatur, but we had no place to put it, so we had to build our bin here, and this is where 18 sergeants will work out of this office right here. So we're using taxpayer dollar to buy ballistic shields for the officers, Kevlar and everything else. You need a place to be able to maintain it. And part of the problem is you can see some stains up on that ceiling, but part of the problem is this is underneath the jail kitchen, and we've had a few incidents over the year in which spoiled jail food has leaked down into this building on top of our tactical equipment. All their equipment, a lot of these guys now on their equipment, their training, this is where 20-some guys get ready and go out for a hostage barricade or a high-risk search warrant. They get dressed. And it's so confined, they almost have to get dressed in shifts. And in fact, they've been out, I think, twice today, and they're going out again this afternoon on our narcotic search warrants. They deploy about 100 times a year. And this is it. This is the luxurious gym of the Decatur Police Department, which is really a crying shame when you see some of the police departments because everybody says, oh, them cops ought to be fit, doing all that. This is it. This is all we have. We crank this up, and we get fumes in there, and it will lift your fingerprint off a casing, off a gun barrel, off a glass, off some other things. This over here is what we have to do to test cannabis. And before we got that, we had a piece of clothesline going across the back wall. So if we had a pair of bloody shirts, bloody jeans, we would hang up on that. That we were able to secure that so we can dry items quicker, so that we can then get them packaged and sent off to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab. So this is stuff that's, it doesn't get to go anywhere. You don't get to destroy it. You got to keep it for trial. You got to wait for appellate court decisions, Supreme Court decisions if it goes there, retrials of a defendant. This is also a working environment, so when you bring drugs, and especially marijuana, any green leaf marijuana, you can probably smell a little bit of it right now, but that's what the employees got to sit there and smell all day because we don't have facilities to put that in. But I don't know if you can see the stains up in there on the ceilings. Yeah. We've had several times over 20 years where we've had water in here. Mm-hmm. We've had to put some of our evidence up on the attic, and so like if we go back and work say a homicide 18, 20 years ago, from none of us were even, well, I was born, but a lot of us, were kids, and then we do this for a living, we go to pull that case, we'll take you to where we have some of that stuff, and it's not uncommon if weather's got in there and destroyed it, mice, and that's your evidence. This is just another little area, we have to have equipment for people. Voila. I mean, it's really kind of crazy. I got officers going through a boiler room, a maintenance boiler room, a maintenance break area, getting on a freight elevator, and imagine filling this up with evidence and doing this 2-3 times a day and stuff. And then we'll be trucking across the roof of the law enforcement center in the snow, in the rain,
So we'll get an email from a state's attorney saying, I need this evidence for court today. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be in the area right behind us. It's going to be up here. So this is what we have to go through.
Now imagine 6-8 inches of snow up here trying to tote all this through here. It's only 100 degrees today, so these guys got to suck it up.
A little more.
This is an area that we've been trying to build up, because we had absolutely no other place to put it. So, we went to the attic. And you saw the route that it takes to get stuff up here. If this is what this is decided to left us, so be it. We're going to continue to do our jobs. And people need to understand that they certainly could do it much better. And there's a lot of complaining, we want them to do this, we want them to get that done. Well, they need to see how we're basically being handcuffed, by being in this facility. And everybody that comes and takes a tour like you do, everybody is disgusted. But we don't expect the public to come down here and take a tour on this and sell it to them. We rely on the decision makers to convey the importance of the message to people, and we keep our opinions out of it. We don't have anything to do with how it's paid for. That's not our job, and it's not our worry. I need to be able to represent, is it inadequate? And I think the answer is obviously yes.